scratching up these questions because I had some help with my girl, because I informed her about everything. So as I was going through these questions too, I was like, it's going to be interesting because like obviously you've been cutting my hair for God knows how long now. Um, Probably almost a year now. You put it there? A year?
Probably more, but it just
Yeah.
feel like the way time flying is weird. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
definitely, yeah. But it's just like some of those questions we've talked about just because we've been conversating, and then there's another set of questions where it's just like I would be eager to know this.
Sure.
On top of that, just aligning with the project and everything, but out of my own personal, it would just be better to know that about you.
Sure.
But basically, just kind of say your name, your title, your business name, and just tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, my name is Manuel Esteban Ponte. I'm a barber. I have a mobile barber van. Um, go by the name of Good Hands Mobile Barbershop.
Yeah. And I know been talking, and you do like a lot of other things. I don't know if you want to add that to the top of the conversation as well, as far as like your side businesses, your
Yeah,
photographing, your music,
yeah.
music
As a
videos.
barber, that's my main thing. On the side, I have a multimedia company and also a recording artist.
So yeah, go go and dabble in everything.
Hmm.
Well, this one goes to like your like background, as far as like I know you come from Chicago, correct? You have a diversity when it comes to your family, your mom and dad specifically, coming from Puerto Rico, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, and basically it's just like kind of tell us a little about your background as far as like starting from as much as you can remember as far as to where you are right now, as much as put right to the table, as far as parents, family, where you've been, where you went, and where you're at now.
No, absolutely. Yeah, both of my parents are from Puerto Rico, but I was born in Chicago.
Yeah,
I stayed in Chicago until like I want to say I was 14, 13, 14, and then I moved to Puerto Rico. The reason why I moved is because my mom had got sick. She was diagnosed with HIV, and at the time, what they explained to me was like if she gets sick, she could die sooner. So they wanted to go to a more warmer climate. My grandparents actually moved back to Puerto Rico, and she would often help them a lot. So they left, so she went back. She went behind them prior to us leaving. My father had passed
yeah,
from the same disease. I stayed in Puerto Rico for my teenage years, right before graduating high school. I came back to Chicago trying to pursue basketball. Uh, some of the credits didn't transfer over, which kind of was like a little bit discouraging.
yeah,
And then when I went back to Chicago, it was like didn't hoop as much. That kind of fell by the wayside, and that's where I picked up, doing music and cutting hair and stuff
yeah.
like that.
I mean, this is something I didn't know that you graduated high school in Puerto Rico, like, and you attended a little bit of school in the States, right? So I'd say like, what's kind of the biggest difference from
Yeah, well,
school
I
there?
actually graduated here, but
Okay, okay,
the difference is in Puerto Rico, it has more of a family feel, but at the same time, it has like a college feel because it's like I would cut class. Like I got introduced to cutting class over there. I didn't even know that was a thing,
yeah,
and how often it happens.
hmm
And when my mom died, I was like so rebellious that I
yeah,
just stopped going to class. I'll
yeah,
go to school,
yeah,
I'll go to hoop, you know what I'm saying? But I wouldn't go to class. And, it was almost like if you want this, you show up. I think they kind of felt sorry for me
hmm
because they knew what transpired with my parents.
yeah,
So they weren't really on my back. And I feel like I still passed because of the relationships they had with me and my grandparents. But I was super unruly. And it was difficult. It was
yeah,
difficult. It
yeah,
was a culture shock. Uh, Spanish isn't my first language.
yeah,
Bullying, they make fun of you if you're from the
yeah,
States. Racism.
yeah,
It's the first time I experienced that. I'm like, we're all Puerto Rican. How's,
yeah,
for being dark skinned, you're considered um, just someone who it was lame or ugly or you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna lie, teachers did care, but once you showed that you didn't care,
Yeah, it was just like not gonna
they
waste
wouldn't
your time.
care either. Yeah, low key.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's a big thing as far as like you kind of hear that a lot, but hear that a lot in referring to like you being from the States, but you still having your roots in Puerto Rico, right? But then they just look at you different because you're from America. Like
Yeah.
they just, you kind of hear that a lot, but to experience that, I bet that was like you said, a
Yeah.
culture shock.
Yeah,
Just,
I was confused. Like,
Yeah.
you know, over here you could wear some Tims, and they'll be like, "Yo, that's fire." You wear some Tims over there, and they'll roast you.
Yeah.
They're like, "What you got these construction boots for?" So it's funny, like the culture, you know.
Yeah.
But where I made most of my friends was like on the basketball court because it was like, well, everybody loves hooping.
Yeah.
But then I get into it there too because their style of basketball would be like team basketball, a lot of running, whereas in the States we're more into like crossovers, flashy stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I made a lot of good friends on the basketball court, but then I had a lot of fights on the basketball court because it's like you're being bullied, but you messing them up on the court, so they're getting upset.
Yeah.
Now they're being aggressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
just for standing up for yourself and everything.
Interesting time.
I mean, when it comes to like being grounded, I feel like it's hard to kind of do that as a teenager when you lost both of your parents. You kind of spoken out of being rebellious, just kind of doing whatever, being whatever, I feel like, was basketball the thing that kind of kept you grounded in a sense, or any sense of groundedness at all?
Yeah, I think the game of basketball was introduced to me by my uncle and one of my older cousins. And living in Chicago, I lived in a real dangerous neighborhood, infested with gangs. And my dad being a gangbanger, my mom didn't want me to get into that type of lifestyle. So she was real strict about letting me be outside. And the same thing with my grandparents. But when I took on basketball, it was more like, okay, he's just hooping, right?
Yeah.
And then at that time, sort of like today, you see LeBron all over TV. You know what I'm saying? Well, at my time, it was Jordan.
Yeah.
And so Jordan's brand was always about like willpower and overcoming and doing the best you can. And so at that time, he was like, he doesn't know this, but he was like a father figure to me, right?
Yeah.
And so when I found out that my dad died and what my mom was dying of, it was at the same time that Magic Johnson was diagnosed with HIV.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, I was like, how is this man still alive?
Yeah.
And someone told me, oh, because he got money.
Yeah.
And it wasn't up to that point that I ever prioritized money.
Yeah.
It was not even like a thing. But why would it be? Like your parents pay for everything. So
you don't know any better. Right?
You know what I'm saying? And so logically, I was like, I already love hooping. Jordan's already like my idol in a sense. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to save my mom. So in my young mind, I thought, well, I got to be as good or better than Jordan. I'm going to get to the NBA. I'm going to track down Magic Johnson.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be like, hey, I need the plug.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so that I was playing with a different purpose. And I met so many people on the basketball court, and I've learned so many lessons, life lessons in the basketball court that I felt like I couldn't get at home because my mom had my 3 other siblings. She had her relationships. People were working.
Yeah.
And it's like none of us were planned. And so between TV, Jordan, and the basketball court, and all the people that I met on the basketball court, it was at that time, it was able to mold me and guide me and prepare me for later on what I realized was, the next phase of life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I feel like you kind of value that looking back as far as what the game of basketball did for you, not only just in life, but just kind of like you said, guiding and molding you to places you kind of never thought you would be, meeting all those people, giving you like a different type of purpose and everything.
So it's like brotherhood, camaraderie, discipline, consistency, confidence, being humble. So like all the things that you're gonna need in life,
Yeah.
I was able to pick up from playing ball.
I feel like that's a big thing too, especially like when you have that purpose in mind of what you were trying to do. I feel like you needed those intangibles to really get to where you're going. So but I feel like let's transition to like the business side of things. We kind of got your life a little bit. I'd say like, how did you like first come to learn how to do business? Because for me, I mean, I didn't know this at the time, but me going to cut the neighbor's grass for a quick $20, $40, washing the cars for whatever type of money that was to be made, that was entrepreneurial spirit. Because some people, they don't go knock on a neighbor's door or like, hey, I cut your grass for X, Y, Z. I feel like we kind of look back at it and realize that we always had it in us. I say like, what's kind of been your first experience of that at all?
I think it's just in our blood because my grandfather would tell me stories of how he had to leave school at fourth grade.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, fourth grade? Like, that's kind of wild. You know what I'm saying? And his job was to give water to the guys in the cane fields in Puerto Rico. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, damn, that's kind of extreme. You know what I'm saying? Fourth grade is wild.
Yeah.
And so he cut hair, which I didn't know till later. You know what I'm saying? He cut hair as well. And then my mom, she cut hair, but she didn't do it professionally. She just knew how, right?
Yeah.
And again, I wasn't interested in cutting hair at that point either.
Yeah.
But when she got sick, she was just doing all types of random stuff. Like she'll take people's pictures, and before Photoshop even was a thing, she'd restore old people's pictures and bring them back. And she knew how to do graphic design. She used to do all types of decorations. I remember coming home and there was like this machine where you could put stuffed animals inside of a balloon. Like she had a whole room of stuff, and she would just sell things. She'll sell desserts. She'll do cards for weddings, all types of things, man. And she used to get to the bag. And then my grandfather, when I lived with him, he'd make me shine his shoes. That was my first job.
Yeah.
He'd make me shine his shoes, and being able to restore some shoes and make them look brand new again, it was so satisfying.
Yeah.
And he'll give me like $1. And then my grandfather also was like real cheap. So it was like if he has somebody working on his car, he will somehow get them to hire me as help. And so then I'll learn how to, body shop and stuff like that. And then I remember they were making a garage next to the house, and he had me help them.
Mm-hmm.
And he would do this so that he could leverage my help as getting charged cheaper. And so him being able to instill that in me, I like the feeling of, man, I could determine when I get paid.
Yeah, that's
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing about, I'd say, being an entrepreneur. It's just determine when you work, when you get paid, how you get paid, and like just kind of having that own sense of pride and control in things that you do in this life. Because the way that like the world works, you have to go work for somebody else. But when it comes to working for yourself, and like I say, doing it when you want, how you want, and controlling the amount of dollars you make too, I say like just give you a sense of pride, confidence, and just overwhelming enthusiasm. And just like from your first thing, when your first job, when it came to shining shoes, like they gave you so much satisfaction. And I feel like you still kind of are thriving on that same sense of satisfaction when it comes to cutting hair.
Absolutely.
Basically changing somebody's day, changing somebody's physical looks, and just making them give a new sense of confidence, new sense of pride, and everything like that too. Because that's definitely what a haircut does for someone, especially me. So
absolutely.
Yeah. And I say like just continuing with you're growing from your first entrepreneurial spirit job to kind of that transition of just like you wanted to really kind of do this for yourself and full time. I'd say like what's that kind of been like, looking back on it, that journey of like from making it a real thing for you, if that makes sense.
Well, it was never something that I thought I was going to choose as a career.
Yeah.
But it was a skill that I had developed, wanting to look good for myself.
Yeah.
And my mom not being able to keep us fresh, going to high school in Puerto Rico, you don't got to fade, You ain't got a lining. They're gonna fry you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I saw her clippers there, and I'm like,
why not?
my first lining was probably like super diagonal. I had to compensate with my head like this.
Yeah.
You know, they cooked me, they fried me, but I kept going. And I had a neighbor, I think his name was Juan Carlos. He was fired with the haircuts, and it was like $5, and you know, and I was like, well, that competitive nature that I got from watching Jordan in basketball. My thing has always been like, well, if he could do it, I could do it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so I started cutting my own hair. Of course, it was trash for a long time. Then it got better. Then I was able to cut my brother's hair.
Yeah.
I would use them as, you know, subjects to test on, and then I got better. Then I cut my friend's hair. Then I cut the block's hair.
Yeah.
And I never charged because I was like, no one's gonna let me cut their hair if I'm charging because they don't got no money. So if I say it's free, who don't want a free haircut?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And if I mess up, I'll be like, yo, it's free.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It wasn't until later where a friend of mine, Daniel, rest in peace, he was like the catalyst in me making this real on a professional level because he was so picky. He was like a pretty boy, like a Shamar Moore type guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so when I would cut his hair, he'd be like, man, can you get this spot right here? Can you get this right there? And so now I really had to zone in on becoming a good barber, and he was able to get me into a shop.
Yeah.
And so when I got to the shop, one part that I missed is that when my parents died, I was receiving Social Security money, and I loved the fact that I was getting money because I was able to buy all the things that my parents usually would say no to.
Yeah.
The Jordans, the Timbs, and all that, whatever. But then when that dried up, I'm like, damn, how am I gonna get some money?
Yeah.
And my friend's like, man, go to the barbershop. And so when I got to the barbershop, that's when I first started making money. And I was like, wow, I could get paid to do this.
Yeah.
But I wasn't that good yet.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that I was getting some type of money, and still prior to that, my plan was to be a recording artist.
Yeah.
So cutting hair was always like some side hustle money.
Yeah.
Until fast forward in the future, I decided to work at a corporate job, and I was so frustrated with, you know, the hours that I would put in, you know, and I made these investments with these recording studios, and I could never use them because I'm tired. I got to go to work tomorrow.
Yeah.
And though I was getting paid, I felt like at that moment I started feeling like time became more valuable than money. And it wasn't until another friend of mine said, like, what are you doing?
I can like, what age did that kind of strike? Like, when was this that time is more valuable to you? What age did that?
That was until like recently. That was like 2018, 19.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because intertwined in there, I was always trying to figure out, how do I make time for music?
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at people making millions of dollars off one song. I'm not doing it for money, but the fact that that's possible.
Right.
And I don't think I'm trash, but my bills were due now.
Yeah.
So rap ain't giving me the money I need now. You know, I'll ghostwrite, make a couple thousand here and there, but it was never enough. And it wasn't until I was like at work at Sprint, and we were putting up this like title merchandising stuff that we had to put up from the start, and I'm watching this loop of Jay-Z rapping, and I'm just hearing this silly yellow Sprint shirt, and I'm like, I do not belong on this side. I belong here where this guy is at.
Yeah.
And so my guy told me, he's like, what are you doing, man? Like, you know how to cut hair.
Yeah.
Why would you work here, bro?
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? You're right. And I quit the same day they were forcing me to be a manager. They kept asking me, hey man, fill out the app. I don't see your app. And I'm like, I don't want to be a manager.
Yeah.
That just means more work.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're like forcing me. And I was like, you know what? I'm done.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then I started cutting hair. And it was that leap of faith that I had to have. I was almost scared because hourly is guaranteed.
Yeah.
But when you're an entrepreneur, you have to secure your paycheck. You know what I'm saying? Your clients.
Yeah.
And you start realizing that it's more than cutting grass.
Yeah.
It's more than cutting hair.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's just the technical part of it.
Yeah.
Then you got the marketing. You got to go out there and sell yourself.
And
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, run yourself too. That's a big part as well.
Yeah, man. So I would say 2019, it was so weird because then COVID happened, and then barbers were like the best thing in the world because all the shops closed and we just got a raise. Like I used to be like, yo, if I make 100 a day, I'm good.
Yeah.
Boy, I was getting some money.
Yeah.
Because there was no barbers, and then I think people started to realize how important a barber was. Because up until then, we getting paid like it was the 80s.
Yeah.
$20 haircuts.
I definitely remember those days.
You understand what I'm saying? So yeah, that's when I started taking it a little bit more serious. Just because I love the fact that I could get paid what I'm worth. I could set my schedule, and I could be able to do, pursue my career. You know what I'm saying?
There's a lot to take away from that, but I just want to go back to the part of like your friend, right? I feel like you ever go back and thank him sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time. My friend that died, that finessed the opportunity for me. My friend who told me to quit my job. The idea was we were supposed to do music together. And that's a story in itself because now it's like, okay, cool, I have the time now, but it's like now it's like time management. It's about, putting things in sequence. Right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And you don't come across a lot of people that believe in you and that could see, you know what I'm saying, before it manifests. So you really gotta, be grateful if you have people like that in your life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. Because I feel like I try to be that friend sometimes. Well, specifically with my cousin, just try to like guide him, help him out, and just like steer him in the right direction. Because I feel like my life, that doesn't make me any better than him, but I feel like my life gave me a little bit of a upper hand to where he's at in life, and kind of like almost like your dad, right? Like he's guiding you, you don't realize it, but he's guiding you so you don't do the same things that he did, right? Kind of like that situation, right? Where like I'm trying to guide him to do the right things, but for you to actually, kind of commit to the bit and like actually do it and kind of like accept that, that's a big characters, attribute to yourself. Because so many people, they'll just hear the opportunity and then they wouldn't take it because, like you said, you had that leap of faith of just like, I don't want that manager job that's guaranteed money, guaranteed more money. Yeah, the work's there, but still making more money though. To that situation where like, okay, well, I'm willing to take the leap to basically control my time, control my value of myself. Like that's a big part too. And on top of that, just kind of just take control of my life because I feel like you definitely sacrificed a lot to have those abilities to do time, value, and know your worth, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I just feel like that's a big part of being an entrepreneur that so many people like don't realize until they're in deep end,
Yeah.
And they're trying to like make it happen at that point.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
But I say, what does like being an entrepreneur like really mean to you? Kind of looking back on your journey, as far as like what is it kind of? I feel like that definition always changing, but like what kind of does it mean to you right now?
Outside of like we discussed, getting your money, creating your schedule, I'm starting to fall more in love with the idea of legacy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm starting to fall more in love with the idea of building something and passing it on to my kids and my grandkids and people that I'm not going to even meet.
Yeah.
Because I decided to get busy. Because when you look at other cultures, you see they do that.
Yeah.
Like Jewish people, Nigerians, like everybody has like their businesses and they groom their kids up so that they don't have to operate within that rat wheel system.
Yeah, where till I'm 65.
Correct.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Which, it's not for everybody. Being an entrepreneur is not for everybody.
Yeah.
But I think that if your life expectancy is around 70 now, then I feel like, well, when do you get to enjoy life? Mm-hmm. If you're going to spend most of your time working and if you fall for the whole American dream, so now you got a mortgage, 30-year loan, by the time you're done paying it off, it's time to die.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And all this trading time for money, which is a concept that I was introduced to a couple years ago, reading this Rich Dad Poor Dad. And so for me, I would like to lay down a blueprint for my kids to see like, hey, there's different ways you could get a bag.
Yeah.
You don't have to imagine busting your ass for like an hour and someone gives you $12.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I get $35 for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
It's something that I do on autopilot because I just love doing it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, you know, being the first person in my family taking that charge, you're gonna mess up.
Yeah.
You gotta tweak it. You gotta go back to the drawing board. But for me, being an entrepreneur, it's like you're working on some type of like masterpiece.
Yeah. I feel like that's the biggest thing though, like just kind of like the blueprint, right? Like someone has to do it, right? If you want that generational change, which allows the people like you said that you're not even going to meet to be okay. And I feel like as men, that's kind of like what we want to leave sometime is that legacy behind us. Like, yeah, like that was my great grandfather who did this. He's the reason that I can say that I'm okay now these days, right? Sure. So I feel like it's like the living legacy that always happens because you decided to make a sacrifice and decided to make that blueprint out, right? And even goes to just like real life when you got an architect, right? He's putting out these blueprints. It's not going to be perfect at first, right? You need to go back and make a few changes. You might need to make this one 87 degrees versus 82, right? Those simple changes could change the whole game, right? So it's just things like that, you know, like you said earlier, like you don't realize you have to do until you're really in there. And I feel like, you know, like it's really important, right, to like leave that legacy. And for you wanting to kind of like leave that behind, it's really, yeah, it's really touching. That's kind of why I'm kind of fumbling with my words, because it's really touching, because like not too many people think that way. Not too many people want to leave that behind and are willing to make the things happen to where they can do that. So yeah, that's really big. Yeah, I applaud you for that, man.
Sure.
Yeah. Now, just kind of like moving on to like motivation and inspiration. I feel like those two things, right? Motivation, I feel like it's more of an extrinsic factor, something that happens externally, and inspiration is kind of what inspires you coming from the inside, right? So I'd say like what inspired you to kind of like start your business. I feel like we kind of ran over that, but in the sense of like what was like really happening on the inside for you to just like continue to push yourself through everything, because I know it wasn't easy at first. You were making no money, and then you started making a little bit of money. Then COVID happened. Then you're like, okay, like what do I do in a sense, right? Because I feel like so many people will hit a roadblock, which you've hit plenty, and just say quit and just kind of go back to what's guaranteed. I'd say what kept you going through all the adversity that you kind of faced.
You said to go back to what's guaranteed, right?
Yeah.
I remember telling my homies, they were like, "You leaving Chicago? Where are you gonna go?" And I moved to Florida. You're like, "You can't move to Florida. There's no jobs over there."
Yeah.
I said, "Nobody works in Florida." And they still live. Yeah, I definitely want to go there, right?
Yeah.
And then I moved to Texas. And so like I think like my parents dying early, it sounds so weird, but like whatever fears they had, they couldn't project them on me.
Yeah, that's,
you know what I'm saying? And then having to have my own back made me hyper focus, and also taught me how to build from scratch over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
So that fear wasn't there, and my relationship with failure is different.
Yeah.
Like failure to me are just steps.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I know I'm gonna suck. Duh. I just started, fam. You know what I'm saying? Come see me later.
Yeah.
And then at that time, like being influenced by people like Jordan, and I was a big Jay-Z fan, and all this like black excellence, come from nothing type stories, hero's journey type stories. And so wanting what I visualize as my finish line is my inspiration daily.
Yeah, I love that.
Because it's like this van didn't exist and then now it does.
Yeah.
This only existed in my mind, and
Yeah.
I'm not a carpenter.
Yeah.
But then I went outside every day at 106-degree weather in here and YouTubed and messed up a bunch of times, and yet we're in here, right? So my mind says, well, if I could do that, that thing that's also in my mind can also manifest. I just got to put the work in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And being able to not only do that, but to show people that everyone can do it.
Yeah.
That to me is inspiring, because I do want to live in a world where like it's not us idolizing Jordan as if he's the only one with those capabilities. Kobe was like trying to prove like it's not just him, or just it's always Nike, or it's always Google, or it's always Facebook, it's always Biggie, it's always Pac. We always talking about the same 20 people.
Yeah.
As if they 8 billion people, as if God didn't make us all special. And so for me, I want to be someone that'll inspire somebody else to be great. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I want there to be like Marvel, DC Comics, and then a whole brand new branch of new people that come out. And so when I meditate on that, I'm like, look, just like I was inspired by Jordan's story or Jay-Z's story, I know someone could be inspired by me. And the thought of that is what really makes me like, bro, if you don't do it, you said go back to something that's guaranteed. There wasn't nothing guaranteed. Every job that I quit didn't exist no more. They went out of business.
Wow, that's crazy.
So I made the right move every single time. And every single time someone tried to talk me out of it.
Yeah.
There was a time where all my coworkers didn't have a job. And I'm working.
Yeah.
It's like I leaped right on time. So there is no, even if I wanted to go back, that place ain't there no more.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm already like halfway through the mountain.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to climb down.
Yeah.
So you might as well finish.
Might as well, yeah. That's I don't know, that whole segment was unique within itself, from the failure part to basically the job that you had previously not being there anymore. The whole analogy with climbing the mountain, I don't know how to go back down. Might as well just keep going to the top. Like, there was so many bits and pieces within there that just like, I just can't wait to go back and kind of review that one. But I just want to kind of go back to the failure part. I feel like the relationship with failure specifically, so many people see it as a negative relationship, right? And that's the bad side about perception, right? If you see if you see failure as a way that you see it, which is a more positive way, it's just like, okay, this is another step to where I'm trying to go. Like, it allows you to kind of keep going, stay inspired, stay motivated, regardless if it's coming from within or external, right? And so many people are also result focused, right? Mm-hmm. From the whole conversation just now, I can tell that you're very process focused, right? Focused on the next step, one step at a time, instead of worrying about the result. Because the result's in your head, you're just making the steps to get to the result. For example, like you said, your van, like, okay, first you gotta buy the van, then you gotta spend hours at a time just trying to figure out like what to do with it, and then you actually gotta figure out
I used to stare at the van for like 20-30 minutes. I'll sit there and just stare, like, where do I start?
Yeah,
for sure.
And I feel like it's the biggest thing, like starting. It's like always been like the hardest. Well, for me specific, can't speak for everybody else, but starting something has always kind of been like the hardest thing. Like, once you start, it's like, okay, like I've started now, like I'm going now, right? If I stop, it's because like, I don't even know. Like, you stop because you want to stop. You don't stop because you just stop. You know what I'm saying? But when you start, it's like you kind of get in that flow state where it's like you don't want to stop. You know? And like, you feel like if you stop, like, you're not gonna like basically get to the finish line at that point, right? So yeah, it was a really good piece, really good segment, and that was just like, yeah, I'm definitely understood the analogy of like, I'm already halfway up the mountain. Why would I go back? Can't go back, you know?
Absolutely.
I'd say like, were there like specific people or kind of like now? I feel like we've kind of touched a lot about the people in your recent past, but like people now that are kind of keeping you kind of going, keeping you want to do this, or people that's kind of like helped you along the way in a sense, or even get to this part right here, you know?
Yeah, people, experience, all that.
Yeah.
I think I'm at a phase right now where you go from like, okay, I don't want to do something, and then you want to do it, and then you do it, and then you go through all these failures, and your relationship with failure. I think that's what you're touching on. The relationship with failure is the insecurity that you have that I think is established in your childhood.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like when you mess up, it's like if you fall, someone laughs at you. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that the parenting is essential at that part,
Yeah.
as far as the development, and that's gonna really shape the framework of how you look at failure. And so for me, I've had insecurities as well. I've always wanted to be perfect, be cool, and then living in Puerto Rico and just different places, Chicago. Like these are places that they're known for like roasting. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For any little thing. You know what I'm saying? Shit that'd be normal, they'll cook you.
Right.
Like those right there, my mom bought me those when I was a kid. I wore those, I got fried. You know what I'm saying? And so when you start realizing that failure is just steps to where you're trying to go, you start associating with yourself with people who also understand that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like a friend of mine, he would throw lobs for me. That was his only job, so that I could dunk.
Yeah.
And he didn't get frustrated all the times I failed.
Yeah.
If I would have been with my prior friends group, they're like, man, you can't dunk, man. Get your weak ass. But this guy's like, give me another one.
Yeah.
Give me another one.
Yeah.
And so, from my grandfather, my mom, I had this one project at school in the art class that we had to make floats. And I went and did it myself. My mom's like, what's this? So shoebox wrapped up in some newspaper. She's like, what's this? I'm like, oh, this is for school. And she's like, what's the assignment? I'm like, oh, we got to make a float. She's like, we're going to work on this when I get out of work. And I was like, oh, my God.
Yeah.
She came home, and this is when the glue guns first came out. And she got football, foil, all types of stuff, bro.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what's this for? And we sit there all night, and she makes a mini Dallas Cowboys float. I'm so embarrassed.
Dallas Cowboys is crazy
because it's too much, right?
Yeah.
So I take it to school, and we're in the parking lot. This is where we lined up before we get into class. I'm like, yo, who want to trade?
Nah,
and it's in a grocery bag, right? And then someone's like, let me see yours. And then I showed them. They're like, damn. And then the next kid, let me see it. Damn, I'll trade. And when I saw everybody wanting to trade, I no longer wanted to trade.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so when I took it in the class, my teacher was like, wow, can we put this in front of the class? So when I came home, my mom, she's like, so what happened? She's like, everybody loved it. She's like, you see, Steven? That's what she's calling me. She was, you got to go the extra mile.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And she dies soon after that. But that moment made me want to go the extra mile with everything, with everything that you see in here, everything I do.
Yeah.
And to get there, it's going to take failure. So you got to be around people who are okay with failing.
Yeah.
And most of my friends that I'm really tight with, we failed a lot, and it just makes us think that we're closer.
Yeah.
There's only so many times you're going to mess up.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna take 100 shots. One of these shots finna go in. And once I figured out, oh, it went in because I did this,
mm-hmm.
then we gonna rinse and repeat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So my family, my kids, they help me a lot without knowing that they help me, because they remind me to remain a dreamer.
Yeah.
The way they believe in stuff.
Yeah.
And don't think of excuses.
Yeah, nothing.
Oh, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do this. And I'm like, man, we all start that way. But then sometimes failure like chisels at that. People.
Yep.
What are you doing, man? You know how hard that's gonna be?
Yeah.
And it starts dimming your light. So being around my kids, it keeps me like a kid.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It gives me like the guts and the motivation to do stuff that's just like outrageous.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think it was a beautiful message left by your mom. Like that was just going the extra mile and kind of seeing like that come to life.
Yeah.
So I feel like, you can say that, and then it's different from when it's said, and then you see it, you understand it, versus like when it's just said, right? Like for me, kind of like that correlation ties to I went to school in Minnesota. I've always been from Louisiana. You never see the seasons change. It's always just one season. It might get cold, but you never really see the trees change colors, right? Went to Minnesota for 2 years, and I seen the trees change colors for the first time. That felt like a coming to God moment for me, because it's just like I've always seen this in the books, but now I see it in real life. It's a distortion in your mind, like that coming to reality is just like, oh, this is real, and like being in the hills or being in the mountains is just like this is actually real, right? So like it just changes your mind, as far as like understanding things and kind of like really holding on to that, because now you see it, you believe it. You know what I'm saying? You can only believe words so much, but now you see it and believe it, it's a totally different story.
Yeah.
And keeping that close circle of friends, people that believe in you, not only believe in you but also like see you for who you are and what you're trying to be, and like continues to push you in ways that you don't even like realize at first, because at first it was just like your friend who told you like, oh, like just go to the barbershop, like you had no idea what that was going to bring you, but he believed in you. He's seen you because he's like, why are you working at Sprint, like you have something so much better within you, go through that, right? And you just like, you believed in him as much as he believed in you. So like, kind of having that connection with your friends and people that you can actually call friends, that actually kind of, keep pushing you to where you need to be and everything like that. So something to hold on to for real. And then obviously, like, I don't know what it's like to be a dad, but I've heard so many stories about how, kids keep you going, especially as a dad. And you didn't mention anything at all about providing. You mentioned the fact of they keep you as a dreamer. And that's one thing I've kind of never really heard at all, really, as far as like how they keep you as a dreamer and everything like that. So like that's really big. And on top of that, it's just like so many kids get that light dimmed from parents, from school, from other people, just random things. And now we have the internet nowadays. That limb gets dimmed instantly sometimes, because you might make a post on Instagram, you don't get the like that you want. Now you just kind of like,
you're comparing yourself to people.
Yeah, and your confidence is kind of like dimmed a little bit, and then it's a chain reaction at that point. But I think it's super important to keep that dreamer spirit, and on top of that, like for the kids, just kind of like keep them that imagination, because everyone's a scientist, everyone wants to create, everyone wants to do, but it's a matter of like how you do it, and then having the belief that you can do it too. So, yeah, that's all huge, man. That's really big stuff. No, I say kind of what can I word this? So like with this, right? With your business venture, like as far as music, photography, and kind of having this mobile detailing. I said, Jesus, mobile detailing.
So that's coming soon.
Mobile haircut, and that's like, I feel like COVID really brought that out, as far as like the mobile aspect of a lot of businesses, because now people are like understanding the value of being at home sometimes, and kind of bringing something to someone creates even more value, right? But I'd say like, how did you identify that you wanted to make it mobile in a sense, or like you kind of wanted to kind of keep going with this and make it into something to what it is now in so many words?
Yeah, I was trying to kill a lot of birds with one stone, man. I've worked in a lot of shops that were like startup shops. I had my own shop like when I was like at 22 with one of my other homies.
Yeah.
And I kind of hated being around certain energies. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because like in theory, you could have an idea and then you could execute, but because you never did something before, you didn't factor in other like components. Like this guy is gonna have trap music all day. This guy gonna smell like weed. This guy's customers have beef with this guy's customers.
Yeah.
And so for me, I was kind of done with those type of environments.
Yeah.
And I wanted something a little bit more personal. And I also wanted to be able to travel. So like for me, it was like, okay, this is my plan. I'm gonna cut hair from this time to this time, and then from this time to that time, I'll make music. And that's why this half of the van has the soundproofing, because I actually make music in here. That folds down. I bring the computer out. I get to recording, right?
Yeah.
And then I also thought about like, my grandfather, he was a pastor, And not only was he a pastor, he was the person that would pick people up from church. And so we didn't have cell phones. And so he'll make me come with him to get out the car and ring the doorbell, knock on the door, knock on the window, throw rocks at the window, hop fences and stuff like that. And I'm like, they clearly don't want to go to church today, you know what I'm saying? And he wasn't going for that, man. And it was a part of this like accountability type thing. And so for me, it's like sometimes people want haircuts, so I'm too far. You know what I'm saying? So like, yo, I could come to you. And I also wanted to do something where, we could do what we're doing now, like, have content. I wanted to give back and cut people like kids and events and stuff like that. And so I look at this van as a Trojan horse. When I saw the story of the Trojan horse and how it was a gift, and they pulled it into the kingdom, and at night all the men that were hidden in there came in and conquered. Like, this van is like a Trojan horse. Like I could drive into the hood and you think you're just gonna get a haircut. But you don't know that while you sit here for your 30-45 minutes, you're gonna learn something too.
I feel like I'm sorry I kind of cut you out there, but I feel like that's always the case when I come here. It's always something valuable. I leave here with more than just a haircut.
And that for me was like, I wanted to provide something more than a haircut, because one thing I noticed with social media is that a lot of barbers highlight like their skill. Like, oh, check this out. And it's like,
anybody can do that.
How much blurry can a fade get? How much crispy can a lining get? Graphics cool. These guys doing these weird, like, putting fire and doing all this other stuff, which at the beginning I thought was cool, but then when I went to college, I learned more about how barbers were a staple in their communities. I didn't know you would run to a barber if you got shot. He would come and take the bullet out and sew you up. Crazy. I didn't know this. I didn't know how important a barber was back then, right? And so now it's like this weird WWE celebrity barber type vibe, and I'm like, I ain't mad at you, but I remember the barbers when I had bad grades. I had straight F's one year, and my mom took me to the barbershop, and I was like, I think one of the dudes like, man, I'm gonna give you $20 for every grade that you bring up. I was like, and I get to keep the money. My mom ain't gonna take it. I can buy what I want. Boy, I raised every grade. I said, and I came back every week. I couldn't find dude. I was like, yo, I need the bread. And he gave it to me. And so sometimes you need those uncles, that might give you the same message your dad is giving you, but you're not listening, right? And so, and having this mobile van allows me to reach more people. You know what I'm saying? I've driven all the way to Miami, to Atlanta, Tampa, Orlando, and I've been able to cut people's hair, but better than that, have conversations that I've recorded that I'm like, yo, when I post these, shout out to my sister who passed away in February. She sent me this account of this older white man, gotta be like in the 60s or 70s. He opened an account on TikTok dedicated to teaching boys who don't have fathers how to do everyday things. Like tie a tie, change a tire type.
I've seen it for those.
And so she showed me that, and she's like, man, you should do something like this. And what I noticed is that he had those things, but he didn't have dialogue. It's no conversation about if you have a crush on somebody, if you're being bullied, how to manage money, right? And so I'm like, yo, I'm gonna take that idea, but I'm also gonna add everyday life stuff.
Filling those voids.
You know what I'm saying? And so, the idea with being mobile is to go out and interview people who are super dope, who have dope testimonies. And so when people get haircuts, bro, it's not just about looking good on the outside. I want the inside to reflect. I want your aura to reflect what you look like on the outside. And at this point, I feel like the haircut is like clickbait. You know what I'm saying? Like, you come, y'all finna look good, but you finna get more than that. You know what I'm saying?
But nah, what was I gonna get at, Jesus? I feel like that's really big as far as like kind of like what you wanted to get from it being mobile, which is to reach more people, whether it was literally in your community or traveling a few hundred miles to somewhere to some destination. I feel like you truly accomplished that as far as like reaching people, making it more than a haircut, making sure that people are doing good inside and out.
Yeah.
And I feel like me personally speaking, like I'd say like I said, about a year coming here now, it's definitely been that, and I think that's really what keeps me coming back. Obviously, like, I can go get a haircut anywhere.
Appreciate you.
Probably could get the same haircut, or better, or worse, whatever it may be. But I think the fact that it's more than a haircut, it's a valuable lesson sometimes. It's a valuable understanding about myself, whether I'm learning more about you, or just something that I leave from here with a new thought, a new place to go, a new thought to kind of travel up on. It's always something, you know, to gain from this, and that's kind of like what really keeps me coming back here and what makes me want to be like a consistent customer. And I feel like you creating that is a big part of your entrepreneurial spirit, as far as like not only providing a product, it's just like how you differentiate your product. And I think that's how you do it. It's like making you, because everyone, like I said, you can get a haircut from anybody, but it's what comes with the haircut that makes it different, right? And I think was that kind of something that you, and I feel like yes, intentionally you did that, but I feel like is that kind of something that along with that, is that kind of something that you want to like continue to make apparent? How do you make that apparent to people in so many ways?
Uh, to be honest, the honest answer,
Yeah.
I would love to make it seem like I'm some genius. Like I thought of this from the beginning.
Yeah, yeah. That's kind of what I'm getting.
Like
How
no,
did that
it
come
wasn't.
together?
It's not about me thinking this and planning this out. Like I'm some genius. I think that God uses things that are unfortunate in your life to make it your advantage.
Yeah.
And so when you don't have a dad, you go from not having a biological dad, then you have a stepdad, which shout out to my stepdad because he did a few things that I needed from him. And then, you know, but you still felt that you didn't feel like that connection, right? And then my grandfather, he was like just straight military, strict type dude, you know, weird love language. Love language was like, he'll just be mean, but then he'll give you stuff. You know what I'm saying? And so from the beginning, I felt like I'm only as valuable as what I could provide.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's how I felt. Like I always felt like I gotta do something for you to make myself feel like I'm worth something. So that trauma response, I've developed like this. It's like I care too much. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like once I identified it, because like you're going above and beyond, but that becomes unhealthy when you spread yourself thin. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so the key component that I feel was helped me be successful is to treat others like how you want to be treated and care, right?
Yeah.
And so if you ask me for a haircut, am I cutting your hair how I wish somebody would cut my hair? Sometimes I cut y'all hair and be jealous. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, people will ask me for the haircut I want.
Yeah.
Bro, I've never grown my hair out like this, dog. This because I can't find a barber, G. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, with that being said, I think that what made me want to, or what helped me develop my business model started off with a insecurity that turned into like be a person that serves intentionally.
Yeah.
And I think because we're in a world where everyone's about themselves, what stands out, unfortunately, is when you care.
Yeah.
Even though that's how it's supposed to be,
Yeah.
and it feels different. Sometimes to some people it feels strange.
Yeah.
Because it feels like there's like some type of ulterior motive.
Too good to be true.
Like, you mean you gonna cut my hair for free? Like, yeah. And I think the money is cool, but I love the fact that I could springboard and transform someone that when they get their haircut, the people in their lives look at them like, damn, You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And cutting hair in the early 2000s, you know, before Instagram, social media, the only way you could retain clients is, and you know you him, is when you cut somebody's hair and then the next week they came with another person.
Right. Yeah.
Because no one's ever seen that person in that light.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And that's
yeah.
why I do the photography and the videos with the hair cutting. Because I'll cut your hair, take your picture, give it to you, post it, and then you repost it, and now everybody thinks you're doing something with your life.
Yeah, that's funny.
And
Bro.
I love that. I love serving people who are overlooked or undermined.
Yeah.
Because it's like I get to live through you
Mm-hmm.
in the moment that I've never gotten to experience.
Yeah.
I never got to graduate in front of my parents, or win trophies in front of my parents, or be successful in front of my parents. So whenever I see someone that's trying to do it and everyone is like doubting them and they're struggling,
Yeah.
I want to be able to connect them. And which is so crazy because that's what my last name means.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't correlate that. You know what I'm saying? It's a ponte, it's a bridge. And for me, I feel like I've always been able to like recognize people and what they want and then show them how to get there.
Yeah.
And it's like low key, I've always been searching for that type of person for me.
Yeah.
So that's really what I try to be for others.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I can definitely say yes. That's definitely that. Just for me and myself, you've connected me with a bunch of people that I never thought I'd be. You know, to people that can be great for me and where I'm going in life. So like, you're definitely completing your mission, and I feel like you definitely continue to do that as I continue to come here back and forth. It's been amazing. But I want to go back to something for my own personal gain. You mentioned not spreading yourself too thin and kind of going above and beyond, and to make yourself feel like if I don't do something, then I'm not wanted. But if I do it, I can't, quote it exactly how you said. But I'd say, like, how did you kind of like overcome that, or not even overcome that, but find a way to cope with it and deal with that kind of perspective of it?
Yeah, so that becomes challenging because it's kind of part of your programming.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if your parents had you and you weren't planned, they had you and they didn't even know themselves. They didn't know their purpose, right? So they're over here sharing game with you because they love you,
Yeah.
but they don't understand that they're sharing a program that doesn't work, right? So you might have parents, you got to go to college, you got to do this, you got to do that.
Yeah.
Because when that idea and thought was introduced, that may have worked for that time.
Right.
But now you look at AI, you look at technology, there's a lot of jobs and things that are just like obsolete now.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so you have all these people sharing old programming, and for me it's like,
That's interesting.
like think about it,
Yeah,
right?
that is interesting.
Because I know people that traced other people's steps and now they're nowhere.
Yeah. I see that being an older brother and having siblings from Jesus. What's my older sibling? She's 20 right now, or going to make 20 in the upcoming year, and having a little sister as young as 2 years old. So having from top to bottom, I see it every different phase, right? And with my parents, basically raising me, and kind of like looking back on my life and looking back and seeing them kind of and how they raised them and everything like that, I see that, that old programming of like,
Right.
yeah, like I got the same thing, you know what I'm saying? Obviously I didn't know it, but it's just like they're growing up in such a different world compared to how my 40-year-old dad grew up, Not to say that, but it's just like times are changing so fast, so rapidly versus back then it's just like you was able to make a phone call from your house, like that was amazing. Now I can make a phone call from anywhere I want in the world, FaceTime anybody I want in the world. Like so many things are happening so fast, and then like you say, that old program is definitely like.
And that's the thing. So
the big thing.
So to snap out of that, I always use this metaphor, man. It's like imagine, say Christmas is coming around, right? and you got to go into the closet or the garage or the attic, and you got to get the Christmas lights. And then you don't know how they got tangled like that. You know what I'm saying? You don't know how they got tangled. So how old are you?
22.
Okay, so let's say these Christmas lights have been in your life since you were 22, since you were 1, right?
Yeah.
22 years of these Christmas lights being in the closet and stuff been thrown in there and all that, and you're like, and you sit there and you're like, oh, and buying a new ones it's not possible.
Yeah.
You can't just buy a new brain. You
Yeah.
can't just buy a new heart. You have
Yeah.
to sit there with patience.
Mm-hmm.
And you know if you do it too fast, you might break a light bulb, so then the whole thing won't work if one of them things busts.
Yeah.
So with patience, you have to unravel, right? With patience, and that's how the programming that you have now, you have to unravel them as you start recognizing these character flaws.
Mm-hmm.
Why did I respond to him?
Yeah.
Why do I act like this? Who said why am I in a rush?
Yeah.
Why don't I take things serious, right?
Yeah.
And then you start reverse engineering where all these practices came from. And as you start doing that, you're like, okay, I did this for the wrong reason. You know what I'm saying? I didn't do enough of this, or I'm doing too much of that.
Yeah.
But you have to self-reflect and be honest with yourself. And then we segue into the thing about purpose.
Yeah.
Because you could be good at something that wasn't meant for you.
Yeah.
I could take a screwdriver and hit a nail in from that side, but it might take me longer. I might damage the handle on it, right? Because that screwdriver wasn't created for that, right? And so there's no way to answer this question without bringing up purpose, and there's no way to talk about purpose without bringing up God.
Yeah.
And so if God designed you, then he's the only one that knows your purpose.
Right.
And too many of us try to be entrepreneurs and do things that God didn't call us to do.
Right.
And most of the time, you did it for money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so the worst thing that could happen when you do something for money is it be successful.
Yeah.
It's the worst thing that could happen.
You shy away from that purpose.
You know what I'm saying? Because, and it's like, you're successful, so you do the things that successful people do. Let me buy some more stuff. Let me buy a bigger crib. Let me pay my mama's house. Let me do all this. Let me do all that. But you're miserable.
Yeah.
There's something in you that's uneasy. And now it's harder to walk away from this thing.
Yeah.
Because it's successful.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so when you seek God and he reveals your purpose, now you get to align your purpose with what you want to do as far as business.
Yeah.
When I cut hair, I black out. I don't even remember cutting hair.
Yeah.
I have a full-blown conversation because my purpose isn't so much cutting hair, though it is a metaphor. It is bringing the best out of people, connecting people. What we're doing right now.
Yeah.
I'm just cutting hair while we're doing it.
Yeah.
You leave here improved. But every time I was a bill collector, like all these things that had nothing to do with my purpose, it's like the competitiveness of me wanted to be the best at it. But every time I was like, yo, you were second in selling in the nation 1 month.
Yeah.
I was like, why don't I feel like that's something? Yeah. But then I could cut a kid's hair. And for some reason, we're talking about, I don't know, he has a crush on a girl. And I didn't charge him, and he left. And he left there with like confidence.
Yeah.
That meant the world to me.
Yeah.
Because I know tomorrow, Monday, he goes to school, he's going to take a whole different approach to this thing.
Yeah.
Whether it be school, whether it be crushes, whether it be bullies, you know what I'm saying? And so it takes a while for you to transform into what God intended you to be. And you can't be too hard on yourself, but you can't quit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can't quit.
Yeah. Because
even if you were to quit and you were to settle, you will never feel at ease.
Yeah. All right. That's a lot. That's a lot to take in. Again, that's another segment I can't wait to go back and kind of like listen to and really understand. I feel like a lot of that had to do with patience within yourself, not being so hard on yourself, and just understanding that gotta take time to kind of unravel what you was taught and kind of because obviously your parents are teaching you that old program like you said, but now like you have to kind of take control of it yourself and figure out who you are and like be patient with yourself as you're figuring it out because it's not gonna happen overnight and understand that you gotta be right with God. Like that's most important thing. And like it's hilarious because my grandmother, I ain't gonna say she never texts me, but it's always in a blue moon. My grandmother sends me a text message, right? She always tells me every single time, keep God first. No matter what, keep God first. Even when I was a little kid, she said. Obviously then, like I was just like okay, but now like it's definitely been a huge part of my life, and I look back and I'm so I ain't gonna say unwavered sometimes because obviously like that would be a lie, but I feel like sometimes like I don't even feel the need to rush the rush of anxiety or whatever it be because I just feel like God has done so many things that has calmed me down to not panic, to not get overwhelmed, to not like want to just jump ship and do that, just kind of go off track because I'm just like okay, like I'm here, like I could have been anywhere else, but I'm here for a reason and there's a path for me that I don't know about. So like I'm not gonna let this momentary thing just kind of like overtake me and take me somewhere else that I don't belong or do something I don't need to do. So just kind of like
just know what you're saying, like because you're kind of like just saying it really fast. But what you just said right there is probably the most important thing in life. The most, because most people can't have that type of faith and self-control. Hence why the world is so chaotic. Because they can't do what you just finished explaining. And it's just like trusting God. And it's funny that you say that your grandma would say that. My grandpa would say that. And I would hate it because I'll ask him for something and it's like, seek God. I was like, what? I want these shoes now. And God will give everything. And I used to be like, what are you talking about? And then I read this thing where David said, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. I was like, you know how hard it is to not want?
Yeah.
But then it just makes sense, like when you're focusing on God, God is giving you the gain.
Yeah.
Hey, do that. Hey, talk to that person.
Yeah.
Hey, give this person that.
Yeah.
And like you're like, boom, and then that trust that you have, what makes it difficult is what you see.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're like, God, you jammed us up. There's a big sea right now. They finna get us.
Yeah.
So watch this. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so you get up and you're like, man, I don't have no clients, but man, doubt. That's when you start to sink. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You're like, oh man, I gotta do this. Doubt. Yeah. And so God is testing your faith and your loyalty and your love every day. And a lot of people be like, yo, what's that got to do with being entrepreneur? It's all about everything, God. They're all decisions that you make.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? God is really like the X-ray vision. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But the test is that your heart and your mind has been programmed so much that it's like you moved into a house that someone got kicked out of. And like before you could put your stuff in it, you got to get stuff out. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so you're like, but my grandma gave me this. You become a hoarder, right? Like the weird hoarder show people that you just don't want to get rid of nothing. Yeah. And so like Holy Spirit is trying to dwell in you, but you won't get rid of this and you won't get rid of that. And you can't get this. And it's just like, how am I supposed to move in here? Yeah. This place is a dump. Right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so I think that's one of the key things in being successful. Because if you don't have that X-ray vision that God gives you, you're going to run in place. You're going to go in circles. And the thing that sucks about that, bro, is that you're aging.
Yeah. You don't see it.
Your testosterone levels are going to drop. You're going to be, your cortisol levels are going to be higher. You're going to be more depressed. The chances of you eating more or getting to addiction because you don't know how to deal with all these L's that you're catching. Yeah. And chances are, bro, you're going to fall off. Yeah. So like the sooner you understand this concept that you were born with a duty. Yeah. This chair was born with a duty. You know what I'm saying? You don't see this chair trying to be a car. It's here for a purpose, and so are we. And the thing is, what's so crazy is that you might be inspired by me, or I might be inspired by you, but God made you for a different reason.
Yeah.
So I'm over here trying to be like you, and you trying to be like me, and we missing the point.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So what worked for me may not work for you.
Mm-hmm.
But there's one thing that does work for me that will work for you is trusting God.
Yeah. And I think it's been a huge thing for me. I was at one point in my life where I wasn't a big believer in God, and He showed me that He's alive, well, and capable of affecting my life at any time He wants to, right? Whether it's something bad that happens that turns out to be a great thing, or something good that kind of keeps me going, right? And I feel like that's something that I've been holding on so strong to, and I will continue to do that because of the things that have happened in life. And I'm a big believer in timing, right? Because of God, right? And I think things always happen at a great time, right? A time when you don't expect it, a time when you didn't see anything coming, right? Recent altercation, right? I just got off of school. I was gonna go cook for my girlfriend, but she hadn't got off of work yet, right? And I was gonna go by her place. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm just gonna go to H-E-B. What can I do in the meantime? So I had like an hour and a half before she actually got home. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm not gonna go in H-E-B yet. I'm just gonna sit here, do some homework in the parking lot, just to kind of like pass time, instead of just twiddling my thumbs. Do that. Then after the fact, I'm like, all right, cool. Like, I'm done. Let me go in H-E-B. Then I'm gonna go back to her crib. I go in H-E-B. I meet this guy. This guy basically tells me about this opportunity, and I get talking to him about it, XYZ. Nothing really comes from it because it just wasn't something that I was trying to pursue. But the fact of the matter is that if I would have never sat in that parking lot and made the decision to do homework, or I could have went somewhere else and did something else, but I made a decision to do that, it's just a matter of like, wow, like all this is happening for a reason. Like meeting that guy, even though nothing came from it, I learned what his opportunity was. I learned that there's more, there's something else out there. It's just like all these things are happening for a reason, and it's all about perception and perspective, or what you're gaining from it, and just realizing that, like, it just kind of keeps reassuring me that God has a plan for me that I have no idea what it is, but me trusting in that and believing in things that I haven't seen yet or kind of going through yet, it's kind of like what keeps me going. And I feel like sometimes, like, if I don't say thank you God for the day or thank you God for anything, I feel like I haven't had my day was a failure. Because I don't say that. Even if nothing happened that day, it was just a normal day. I fucking laid in bed all day. I was just thankful that I was able to just wake up and lay in bed all day, just because some people don't even have a bed to lay in, and I feel like growing up, my kind of, I wouldn't say the poorest of the poor, but sometimes like it was bad. But in so many words, that kind of kept me humble in the sense of just like, I had it better than the next guy, but I didn't have it better than the next guy. So just kind of knowing where I'm at in life and being not okay with it, but okay with my sense of self, knowing that like, oh, like I'm not trying to do too much or do too less or whatever it was, but just, being grateful for what I have. Yeah, and giving thanks for the ability to do and say and go, So I feel like that's just a big part of, that trusting in God and just slowly but surely finding your purpose. And kind of back to the initial question, was just trying to like not spreading yourself too thin and just unraveling that.
Yeah, and even with that, sometimes you a comedian, sometimes you good at a bunch of things.
Yeah.
But you spread yourself thin because you're like Solomon. God already made him wise.
Yeah.
He already made him wise. And then he like, I'm finna get with this girl because her dad's this king, and we're gonna salvage that, and we're gonna do this. Now he start leaning on his own understanding. So you spread yourself too thin because you're starting to veer off from the plan.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You start getting greedy. You want to get clout. You want to get these titles. You want to do this, do that. Yeah. And it's like, yo, let the main thing be the main thing. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And you spread, and you could spread yourself too thin being a people pleaser.
Yeah.
Back to, my previous programming of wanting to please everyone so that I could feel like I'm somebody. I may have said yes to too many people.
Yeah.
And now I'm over here trying to deliver on everything I said yes to, but why did you say yes?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's where the wisdom got to come through, and you got to realize that, you know, sometimes these people pulled up on Jesus. They're like, man, my daughter's dying. Could you please come through? And Jesus like, I'll be there in a couple days. He could have got up. Oh yeah, I got you right now. Let me. And then he slid over there. And they're like, she's dead already. If you would have just came when I told you. He's like, well, you know who I am. Get up.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so there has to be order. You know what I'm saying? In the way you do things. So you could be overly ambitious, and now you're just in your way. First, it used to be people in your way.
Yeah.
Doubters in your way, haters in your way.
Yeah.
You overcame that,
Yeah.
and now you're like, I could do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you shouldn't do anything. You shouldn't do everything. You should be doing that thing that you were built to do. So you can't. That's another trap. You go from either doubting yourself or like overly confident. I could do anything. It's like they're both the same thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's so sticking to the plan all the way through should be the first check, the box that you check, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I kind of want to go back to, because I feel like that's the answer to the question I've always wanted to ask myself, like, where did I go wrong? And as far as like losing that faith in God at that time, right? And I feel like it was because I wanted so many other things that I forgot about, where, you know, kind of keeping the main thing. I wanted to chase the girls, do this, do that. Like, it was just so many things that I wanted to do externally that I forgot about my internal self, and I was just on autopilot in so many words. You know what I'm saying? I didn't think I was, but I really was. I was just doing all the wrong things, you know, and just kind of like him showing me that I had to like restore that faith back in him, and it was glad it happened when it happened and how it happened, because it was just a big blessing at perfect timing in so many ways. Just a great transition to, you know, becoming the person that I need to be.
I think that's one of the biggest, most popular and most effective distractions. Like Adam and Eve had everything.
Yeah.
They had everything except one thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, they'll eat from there.
Yeah.
And they had, and yet we're like, so today we just have more trees.
Mm-hmm. Way more.
You know what I'm saying?
So many forms and fashions.
But then when it comes, since this conversation is about being an entrepreneur, I'm starting to believe that success for now, what it means to me, is living what God built me to do, like doing what he built me to do.
Mm-hmm. That's
being successful. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not, yo, I gotta be a mogul, I have to be a billionaire. If that happens, great. If it doesn't happen, it don't matter, because if whatever God told me to do and I did it, I did it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so like when you're coveting and you gotta watch your eye gate, your ear gate, because you know you start imagining things that are vain.
Mm-hmm.
But in all reality, if you wake up and it's like, God, what's to it today? Forget about tomorrow. Tomorrow might not come.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, today, did I win the day? Did I do exactly what you needed me to do? And you don't even understand that when you make the right decisions, you get placed in a different dimension. Me and you could be in occupy the same space and be in different dimensions, because my mind is obedience to God,
Mm-hmm.
and yours isn't.
Mm-hmm.
And so what won't distract me will distract you.
Yeah.
And I could be we could both be this close to our goals,
Mm-hmm.
but it'll take you longer, or maybe you'll never get there because you don't obey God. So you're now in this dimension, even though we're in the same space,
Right.
in the same world, you're in a different dimension going in circles while I'm getting from A to B faster because I'm obeying.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think that's what God wants from us. God wants us to be the example. So when people come and ask you questions, you don't have to sell God to no one.
Yeah.
Do you believe in Jesus? If you die today, are you sure you're going to hell? Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
you could just pull up and people just feel the presence, your aura when
Yeah.
you speak.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you don't say something, and just quiet. The things that you do, people are automatically going to be. If you pulled up over here with a big old burger, it got the avocado, the fried egg, the bacon with the onion rings, the big old lemonade. You don't gotta sell it to me, bro. First of all, I'm gonna smell it, then I'm gonna see it, and then I'm gonna ask you, where did you get that from?
Yeah.
So that happiness that you exude, where did you get that from?
Yeah.
That success that you have, where did you get that from?
Yeah.
You not being bothered and being, where did you get that from? I know your dad, I know your mom. You ain't get that from them. And I was like, you sure you want to know? And you just tell them.
Yeah.
And you keep it pushing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everything else is meant to distract us from that simplicity, bro.
Yeah.
You know?
I love that. I love that. That was.
Yeah. What time is it? I'm gonna leave my kid out there. I gotta pick him up from school.
All right, what time you gotta be done?
I gotta be there by like 2:45, 3 the latest.
Okay. We're almost done. We just had a long segment just.
Yeah, no, I love it.
But yeah, it was really good. Let's get back to the topic at hand.
Yeah.
I say like from like, I feel like there's a lot of risk involved. Like I don't think leaving the faith was a risk, but definitely was a risk because like I kind of going back to what it was mentioned earlier that something was guaranteed versus something that was not. I'd say like, how do you kind of like mitigate that risk and like what was your strategies to kind of like minimize it in a sense? You know what I'm saying?
I don't know how honest I could be because it's for school, right?
I don't know how honest you can't be either. So,
but I can't. I won't be honest if I don't tell you. All right. So like, in the midst,
cold words.
In the midst of me, trying to figure out this money thing back to being a teenager, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have this skill, but your skill requires work, and then you want things, but then you look at the things you want. They cost a certain amount of money, and the work that you're doing through your skill may not get you those things as fast as you want them.
Right.
So then there's other avenues of making money faster, more money, but the risk is going to jail, dying, and stuff like that, right? And so there was a season where me and my teenage homies we were just insecure. I'm gonna be honest with you, right? We were just insecure. There was girls that we liked, and they only wanted guys who had certain things.
Right.
We wanted those things, but our current ways of getting income wasn't gonna allow us to get that in time to pull the girls that we want, to impress the guys that we're cool with, right?
Crazy how that works.
Right. And so then we're willing to do things that the consequences may be you going to jail or dying.
Yeah.
And so in this world, I'm not making those type of choices.
Yeah.
The worst that it could happen is that it fails, not me dying or going to jail.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so everything's a risk. Getting in your car's a risk. Getting on that plane's a risk. You going over there eating at a restaurant and dude probably didn't even wash his hands.
Yeah.
Everything's a risk. So if there's no risk, there's no reward. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes you have to be wise when you're willing to gamble. But you always have to be willing to gamble.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You have to bet on yourself. And there's no way I could answer this question without again bringing up God, because if God is for you, what could be against you, right? So like when David pulled up on Goliath, the first thing he was just like looking at all these strong men, his big brothers that made him feel like he was a goofy, and he's like, y'all letting this dude talk crazy? Because dude was like, oh, bring me the strongest, and he's like, what, y'all letting him talk crazy? And they're like, what you gonna do about it? And he's like, yo, he's not beefing with us, he's beefing with God. And God is on our side. You dig what I'm saying? And so with that being said, it's like, if you're doing the right thing, it don't matter the risk that you're taking. You know what I'm saying? The risk that you're taking, God ain't gonna have you looking crazy out here. Chances are you're doing the right thing. You know what I'm saying? And so you have to remove again the worry and the doubt. You dig?
Yeah, that's really good. It's just like being confident that regardless of the risk, there's some success coming out of it. And
Yeah.
kind of back to what I mentioned earlier, just like you being so process minded and being, taking it step by step, not really worrying about the outcome, because you don't really know how it's going to get there, how you're going to get there, but it's just like I know what the steps to take to get there, and obviously just kind of like mitigating the risk, knowing that there is some, but having the confidence that like everything's going to be okay because I got somebody that got my back, which is God, it's going to guide me through it.
I know most people are gonna be like, bro, what does that gotta do with success? I was just like, it's just hard not to factor that in, bro.
Yeah.
And that's why you get all these books, how to be rich, how to do this. It's like, no, it's not finna work because that's not how it. And sometimes people will steal the formula.
Yeah.
They'll take the Bible's formula and take out Jesus and put in what they want to be, and it'll work for them.
Yeah.
But the trade-off is they're not happy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's always a big gap, if you kind of take something out. It's just like if I try to bake a cake and I take one egg out, it's just, that cake's not going to be the same.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I might add a little extra cup of milk, keep the egg back in there. It's still not going to be the same, So, God has to be there in any form or fashion, whether you like it or not. He's there. And maybe you don't realize it, but he's there, and that's kind of something I had to kind of fathom and kind of go through, whatnot. But as far as like challenges, I say like when you kind of started to start your business, because you had 2 shops prior to, right?
I had 1, and then I managed 2.
Okay, and then you had this, right? I'd say like what's kind of been the most common challenges you faced throughout this process, and what's kind of been some ones you kind of won't forget at all?
The biggest challenge I'd say is when you're running something is trying to get everybody on the same accord.
Yeah.
It's hard because look at the mindset, right? Look at your mindset, look at my mindset. So chances are me and you will mesh more versus somebody else that I ain't trying to hear that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so you're like, I gotta wait for this guy to mature. That's why people get fired and hired all the time. So it's like getting everybody on one accord, and that's why I love the Bulls, because I think even though Jordan was dope, what he was more dope in is getting everybody involved. And so now everybody was an extension of what he could do. Because he knew, like, I'm going to get past this defender and he's going to come help. But I could trust that when I kick the ball out to him, he's going to make that shot.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So making sure that everyone is on the same accord was difficult, because I have barbers that'll come in late, smell like weed, like, just be unprofessional as hell.
Yeah.
But the good things that I take from all those experiences is being able to learn from that experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because at first I was like, the concept, cut hair, made money. And knowing that you're creating like an engine.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you look inside a car's engine or you look inside of a watch, you're like, okay, this guy's good at this guy's good at that, and orchestrating that thing. Mm-hmm. And so now I have proper expectations when I take on new ventures, because now it's like, okay, we're dealing with humans. Mm-hmm. So that's always a moving variable. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So have the proper expectations so that you don't feel so let down when things mess up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I feel like the biggest thing is just kind of what you said is learning from it, but like knowing what to expect. Cause the first time you figured like, did you manage to shop twice, right? I feel like the first time you was like, really what I'm getting myself into, got myself into it. And now I'm like learning all these things about other people, myself, and the business itself. And like you say, humans are going to be humans. Well, as an economics major, it's like we there's a thing called like an error term, right? When we do like research and everything, right? Because we're dealing with humans. We don't know what to expect. One day you might like something, next day you don't, Right. So I feel like that's the biggest thing. It's just like factoring that error term with humans, because you just don't know. And then my point here is just like when you did it the second time, I'm sure you did not make the same mistake twice, right?
No, well, it depends, because sometimes the adjustment that you have to make is one that you're not willing to do. Yeah. So you try to find like an alternative way. You cut corners. Mm-hmm. You just won't accept that this is how things are done, right? Yeah. So you go through that phase and you just fall on your face so many times that you're like, all right, I give up. Now you're either going to give up what you were trying to do, or you're going to give up that stubbornness and do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the second time around, the third, fourth, fifth, some people they'll never get it.
Mm-hmm.
But ideally, you would want to take that intel from your prior experience and
Yeah.
apply it, and then all the flags will show.
Yeah.
Like if this dude, when I hire a barber, he's late. You're late for your interview.
Yeah.
That tells me enough. The
Yeah.
way you look, the way you present yourself,
Yeah.
and it's gonna remind you of certain things in the past. And we're not doing that. But life is always gonna be that.
Mm-hmm.
You can never predict anything. I had a dream the other night, and it was a very short one. It was someone told me in my dream, "What got you to 5 won't get you to 6," and that was my dream.
Wow.
I woke up like.
What does that mean?
Like, yo, I gotta do a whole new set of things
Yeah.
to get to where I want to be, because I kept doing everything that got me here, upset that I'm not where I want to be.
Yeah.
But it's like, yo, what got you here ain't finna get you here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so remembering everything you've learned from your failures and try to mitigate and, you know, minimize the same failures. You're always gonna fail.
Yeah.
But if you're failing the same way, it's because you're not learning.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a big thing. It's just like learning and trying to figure that out. But I just want to close up here and basically 2 things. One last question and one question you would leave for the next person. But the next question, 2 questions actually. One question is, what advice would you give someone kind of starting their own business? I feel like you've been doing it since 2018, you said, and it's been 7 years now, and it's a long time. It's a lot of experience and everything that comes with that. I said, what's some advice, multiple advice, or 1-word advice, anything you got for the next person?
The 1-word advice would be go. That's why I got that tatted on my hand. Like, we team go. Like, all the time that you take pondering, you're wasting.
Yeah.
Because it's all hypothetical and it's all theory.
Mm-hmm.
You know what Mike Tyson say? Everyone got planned until they get punched in the face.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're not going to take the spiritual advice because it's too weird and you don't believe in God and all that stuff, then I would say do it now and fast.
Yeah.
Because when you do it now and fast, you're about to find out what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if you like her, go holler at her. You don't like dude, go fight him. You know what I'm saying? If you don't want to take the God approach, and be patient and let God teach you the ways, then you need to hurry up and figure out if this thing is for you or not.
Yeah.
Don't just sit there planning forever just to find out, oh, damn, I don't even like this chick.
Yeah.
Oh, damn, this job ain't for me.
Yeah.
Go all the way in. Gary Vee says, fail fast. Go fail fast.
Yeah.
And then you boom, right back. Oh, that ain't work. Man, last week you said you was finna be a mechanic, and now you over here trying to be a chef. Forget what that person talking about. Forget about, and that's another thing. Don't be advertising everything you do, because now you feel like this innate thing to keep your word when you misspoke.
Yeah.
And now you're afraid that everyone's looking at you, I said I was gonna do this and it failed. I said, then stop saying it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you're doing it for some type of validation, you're already tweaking. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's big.
So I'll say God first, but if you don't want to take that advice, whatever you think you're finna do that thing immediately so that you could get the results immediately, so that you could see how that feels, and you could determine if that's what you want your life to be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, team go. Now my question is, you're on your deathbed, what would be something that will allow you to be okay with going? Something that will make you feel accomplished in life, that you lived your life.
I will feel okay with going, knowing that when people examine my life, that I did exactly what God told me to do. Like, yo, this guy, like, when I look at Jesus, I'm like, dog, he ain't smashed nobody. There had to be girls with asses back then, dog.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He ain't put his hands on someone. All the people that disrespected him.
Yeah.
He didn't go check a bag right quick. If he can make water into wine, boy, I'll be balling. What? You know what I'm saying? Like, he ain't do this, he ain't do that. When dude hit him with the whip, I would like zap Like, he didn't do that. He still loved you. He still, after everything you did, he still forgave. Wow. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that to me is like, wow. So I'm like, I wonder what's my thing.
Yeah.
I wonder, like, what's playing out right now. What's my, like, hey, you did that.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you did that.
Yeah.
And I want to live out my version of whatever story God is writing. I want to be that all the way through.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And I'll be okay.
Just live out your purpose.
But if I'm dying and I ain't do that, I feel like I mishandled a gift that God gave me,
Mm-hmm.
which was life.
Yeah, definitely.
I jagged it.
Yeah.
It's like the worst fumble in the world.
Yeah.
Forget a girl. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Forget a bag.
Yeah.
This whole time I was supposed to be this. Imagine God showing you
What you're supposed to do.
what your life was supposed to be.
Wow. Yeah, that would be a moment.
Woo!
That would be a moment.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that would be a moment. But yeah.
That's my answer, bro.
Yeah. It was great talking to you. You've been my barber for almost a year now, and kind of you taking time out to do this, truly appreciate it. And getting to know you better, getting to have more conversations. I feel like it was super natural because of, like I say, every time I come here, I leave with a new purpose, a new lesson, and just new advice, new guidance, whatever it want to be. It's always something more than a haircut. So I truly appreciate you. Keep doing what you're doing.
Appreciate it.
Keep connecting people, reaching out to people. Keep living your light through people, and allowing people to shine their light as well. So I really applaud you for that, and just just keep doing good work. And what you do is amazing. I just want to say thank you. But one last thing, what would be the next question you have for the next viewer? I'm going to ask them that towards the end. But what would be one question you have for the next person?
Why do you want to do what you want to do?
Okay, that's it. I'm going to answer that question for myself as I kind of go through my day, because it is an interesting question. But other than that, just want to thank you again. And it was great having you, man.
Let's get it, man.
Yeah.
Let's get it.
Thank you, brother.
That was dope, bro.
Definitely was.